Morning everyone, we're here today for Guns and Knives TV. We're going to look at a couple of knives from the Kizlyar Supreme range, and these are the Legion and the Maximus. We thought we'd do these together because they're a very similar knife. They're both in the Kizlyar Supreme outdoor range, and if you see them like this, you probably couldn't tell which one is which. They're both in the same sheath. If we take them out, you'll see a slight difference in the style of the blade. That's probably about all. The overlay them, the handles are similar, if not the same. They feel the same, and they're both in the same range of knives, so they're designed for the same purpose, which is outdoor work. So both of these are made out of Oz 8 steel with the satin finish, and I think it makes a good comparison. If you can see both those blades here like that, they are both full tang, and by that I mean that the full blade of the knife, or the full piece of metal, runs all the way through, and the handle is slabbed on either side. And these handles rivets are hollow. You can see right through them, so you can use one for a lanyard hole. They've got quite a good grip. It's the number of finger grooves on here, and the handle and the slabs are grooved for your hand. They both have some jimping on the back of the blade here, so you can choke it up a little bit, and your thumb goes on here so it won't slip, for some good fine work. There's not really a choil on either of these knives, and that one I just showed you was the Legion, but the handles are the same. Both got the jimping. There's not really any choil here, but you don't need it because you can get your finger right up onto here and get some good grip on that knife. And these handles are incredibly comfortable. They're not at all rough. They feel really good in the hand. I've used both these knives, that's why they're a little bit dirty, but they should all be used anyway. Okay, so the first one, the Maximus. It is overall, or both knives are overall 27 centimetres or 10 and 3/4 inches. Virtually the same size. The blade thickness is 4.6, I think it is from their measurements, and it's the same on each of the knives. So what makes them different? The Maximus has a slight recurve in the blade. It's not very noticeable, but it's easy if you're using it. It's designed for slicing. It also has a drop point, and the thickness of the blade goes all the way down. It doesn't start to thin out till the last 3 centimetres here. At that point, it then has this little sharpened back swedge, and it's only a centimetre or so. But that's to improve its stabbing power, because this is much more of a workhorse. The blade is a slightly thicker widthwise here, in this belly of the blade here, and has a concave edge on it. It's a really good knife for slicing. The Legion, on the other hand, part of the outdoor range, as you can see here, for about the last, I'll measure this again so I get it right, 8 centimetres, goes in and has, or possibility of, a sharpened back swedge. In Australia, of course, we can't have a double-sided knife imported, so these are imported blunt, but they wouldn't be hard to sharpen up. At the tip, I don't know if you can see this real well, it angles in from both the cutting edge and the back edge to quite a significant point. The back edge on this isn't sharp, it's quite blunt, but the front edge has been sharpened. what's commonly called a blood groove, but really just releases the air so you can withdraw it easier, is down the middle here, and it is a much more centralised point. So, why the difference? One, more for hunting and fishing off a beast. One, more for your common outdoor and camp tasks such as chopping, slicing. It's a better cutting blade, although it does have quite a sharp point and will pierce things quite easily. Okay, now I mentioned before that the Maximus with its recurve blade is slightly better for slicing. This is some old strapping, nylon strapping. I cut off an old backpack before I threw it out. So this is the Maximus. The one I said was probably better for slicing, and I'm not even pressing on that, it's doing that incredibly easily. The Legion on the other hand, let's see how it goes. It's just not quite getting that there. Press a bit harder and straight through it. So for slicing, the Maximus certainly, that was incredibly easy. Okay, we were going to film outside, but unfortunately rain decided to set in, so that won't be happening. I talked before about the penetrating power of these knives, and I said that the Legion, with its thinner style blade, would probably be better for stabbing than this, the Maximus. This is just an old slab of wood, so certainly the Legion went in easier. It's a little lighter, not much, but it went in easier than the Maximus. So I don't know how else really to measure stabbing power than say, you try and do it the same strength on each one. So there's no difference to the knife, no damage to the knives there. And that went okay. Next thing I thought we'd look at is batoning. There's just some old wood laying around for the fire. So we'll try first with the Maximus. This would be probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches across. I wouldn't go any bigger than that. Now that's going in fairly readily. It's got some knots in it, and it's fairly hard wood, but it's going in readily there. And I wouldn't generally even try going through the middle of a block like that. You would normally just go through the edge and take off small slivers for your kindling. So the Maximus, not a problem. That handle is not loose at all, and I was hitting on the edge of that. But as I say, it's got the full thickness up to the end, so it went really well. Really nice knife to do that with. Now, here's another piece, same wood. I might have used this piece here. This is the Legion. Now here's a problem straight up. This swedge being thinner is going to damage the piece of wood I hit it with. But straight through it, no problems. It certainly dug up the piece of wood I was batoning it with, but anyway, that's to be expected. And of course then we can shear off some thinner pieces if we're going to start a fire. And that's going through really, really easily. Back to the Maximus on the thinner piece. I think I'd have more confidence in the Maximus doing that. As I say, normally I wouldn't drive through the middle of a thick piece of wood like that, but that's just to show what it'll do. So some really good knives there for that. Obviously if you're out in the bush and you need to cut your kindling, these would do it exceptionally well. And if you want to look at making a feather stick, that's shaving quite nicely there on that recurve section of the Maximus. If I try that with the Legion, we'll just go up here a bit. It also is doing a fine job, and that goes back to say where this jimping is on the back of the blade for support. You can choke right up on this. It's incredibly comfortable. I said before, it's incredibly comfortable, these handles. So that's fine. Both equally good for making a feather stick. So yeah, to chop some wood, this is just a piece of old wood from the garden, 1.25 maybe. So first we'll use the Legion. Let's see how we go cutting it or chopping with it. If you're more accurate than me, you'd probably go better, but that's no reflection on the knife, that's me. So that's getting through it. It's a much lighter, it's not much lighter, it is lighter, and you can feel that. Now I'm holding it right at the end, and these both got this little hooked grip, so you can hold it right up here to get maximum impact with the knife itself. Now the Maximus, you can feel extra weight in that. I'm going to choke right up to here. We'll just keep going. Oh, it's again, my accuracy's not what it should be. It just feels more solid. The Maximus just felt better when I was chopping. I can't really say it did a lot better, but it felt better. It felt like you had more weight up over the tip, and that's because of the recurve and this bigger piece at the end here towards the tip where the weight is forward. So, chopping, probably went through much of muchness, but I certainly prefer the Maximus. But they were quite comfortable to hold. Trouble is I've got to use a block to do it on up here in the veranda. Okay, so we've covered in our review so far the basic design of the knives. We've looked at the handle, the blade shape. We've looked at the stabbing. We've looked at the cutting or slicing, chopping and splitting the wood. Last thing before we go, I just want to show you the sheath here. They're both the same, so I'll just show one. These are all the same sheath for the Kizlyar outdoor range, or for the same size knives. It's a nylon compound with a plastic insert. It's motley compatible on the back. It has fairly big belt loop there, and these straps secure more for the molly as well as the belt loop. So you've got quite a substantial way of attaching it. It also comes with a bit of paracord or nylon cord, not really paracord, and a leg strap. So you can obviously tie it to your leg if you wish to do that. Retention in the sheath is by way of the plastic insert, and it clips in with a single retention strap. That's in there fairly well. If I take the retention strap off, that is still held in very well. And to get it out, The clip has a little plastic thumb or finger rest on here, thumb on there, and straight out. So clips in, you can't mistake it, you know it's in and it's locked away. The retention strap is for right-handed wear, so that things brush that way on the strap. If they brush that way, they can catch. But again, it's not a problem because you've still got this retention. But the knife, of course, does go in either way, and no difference. It's a very robust sheath. There are no, well, the plastic insert has holes at the bottom, so any water would drain out of here. And the insert is held in by these two screws. So it's not going to come out, you're not going to lose that. It's held in tight. It's the locking mechanism. The knife's away and quite safe. So Kizlyar. These are a really good outdoor knife. I've used them camping, and we just did a demonstration there. There's no blade wear on that. Even where I was chopping, there's no damage to that blade, there's no bending of it, and that was hard wood. Harder than I thought. Next time I'll get softwood. But yeah, great knives, very comfortable. Okay, pricing. The Maximus and Legion both come in Oz 8 with a satin finish, which is what I've got here. The Legion also comes in a D2. The versions you see here are $145 or $144.95, and the D2 version is $165. Both these knives, and in fact the entire Kizlyar range, is available from gunsandknives.com.au, and you can purchase online through them. Hope you've enjoyed today. Thanks for watching.